Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's news briefing. Thanksgiving is approaching, and food is very much the center of our friends and family gatherings at this time of year, so food safety is a must. So how do we keep it together from appetizers to desserts? We're going to get some tips from our county's environmental health department, then people who know a lot about food safety. We're very pleased to have Edna Botello here, who's going to walk us through Thanksgiving food safety tips. Hi, Edna.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share a PowerPoint presentation.
Please do.
Okay, thank you. Mhm. Are you able to see my screen? Great. Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Edna Botello. I am with Monterey County Environmental Health Bureau. And as it was mentioned, I am here to share some Thanksgiving food safety tips and practices. So the essential food safety practices I'll be covering today will be safe food handling, safe turkey preparation, proper food storage, and buffet safety tips. In regards to safe food handling practices, the first topic I want to cover is hand washing. So making sure that anyone that is doing food preparation is washing their hands for 20 seconds with soap and warm water. Making sure that you're washing your hands before and after handling food, especially raw meats or poultry, and any ready-to-eat foods as well. In regards to individuals that are doing food preparation during these celebration times, we want to make sure that they are also not sick or feeling ill. So just making sure that we are paying attention to that as well. Now, preventing cross-contamination. So we want to make sure that we use separate cutting boards and utensils for raw meat, cooked foods, and produce. Keeping your raw turkey juices away from other ingredients is very important. And an easy way that we can try to help with this issue would be using color coordinating cutting boards in your kitchen. The next item is sanitizing surfaces and utensils. So making sure that we clean the sink, cutting boards, and countertops with hot water and soap, and then sanitizing them with a cleaning solution to remove any residual germs. So for example, we can go ahead and do a cleaning solution with 1 tablespoon of liquid chlorine regular household bleach per 1 gallon of water. Another thing is that it is not really recommended that you wash your turkey. However, if you do wash your turkey in your kitchen sink, you just want to make sure that you fully clean and sanitize your sink after completing that task. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you let your surfaces air dry. Now, safe turkey preparation. So you want to make sure that you are purchasing all of your holiday food items from approved sources that are inspected by the health department. Next, let's go ahead and focus on proper thawing. One item that you want to make sure that you are eliminating, hopefully for all of your celebrations, is to never thaw your turkey by leaving it out in the counter. You want to make sure that the thawing is completed under refrigeration. So you want to make sure that you're leaving it with the original wrapping and place in a container to prevent cross-contamination inside your refrigerator, as we can see here, and allow anywhere from 24 hours of thawing for each 4 to 5 pounds of turkey. Another way that you can go ahead and thaw would be under cold running water. So the turkey should be in a leak-proof plastic bag before placing the turkey in the sink. And the turkey should be fully covered with cold water. And if turkey is thawing using this method, it must be cooked immediately after thawing. Okay. And now I'll go ahead and address cooking the stuffing. So you just want to make sure that you are also cooking your stuffing thoroughly. It is not really recommended to cook stuffing inside of your turkey. You always want to make sure that you are using a food thermometer to take proper food temperatures. If you do cook your stuffing inside the turkey, ensure that the stuffing reaches a temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 15 seconds. Now, in regards to the safe turkey preparation, you want to make sure that you are placing the thermometer in 3 different locations to determine the temperature of your turkey and see if it's ready. So the first location is the innermost part of the thigh. The second location is the innermost part of the wing, and the third location is the thickest part of the breast. You want to ensure that your temperature is reaching a minimum internal temperature of 165 degrees. And this is a temperature that will kill harmful pathogens like Salmonella or Campylobacter. Now I will go ahead and do some brief buffet safety tips. So you want to make sure that we are addressing temperature control here. So for your hot foods, you can use equipment such as chafing dishes or slow cookers to keep your hot foods at 140 degrees Fahrenheit or above. And then you can also do your cold foods, either serve them over ice to maintain below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The next step after we've finished eating our food and our plates, we still have more food left over. So what do we do with this leftover food? So as far as proper food storage, we want to make sure that we're storing leftovers in shallow containers to cool quickly. You want to put your food in the refrigerator within 2 hours of being out in room temperature. And also you want to make sure that you discard any food items that have been left out for 4 hours or more without temperature control. In regards to the shelf life of leftover foods, refrigerated leftover foods can be consumed within 3 to 4 days. Your frozen leftovers, they are best if they are consumed within 2 to 6 months. And any food items that will be reheated throughout the week should be reheated to a temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So why is this important? The reason why this is important is because we want to avoid foodborne illnesses. So for example, common foodborne illnesses in regards to holiday seasons can be Clostridium perfringens. This is a bacteria that can be in leftover foods. It is one of the most common causes of foodborne illness, and common sources are meat, poultry, gravies, and other foods that are cooked in large batches and held at unsafe temperatures. Another thing to note is that Clostridium perfringens outbreaks occur most often in November and December during our holiday season. So we want to make sure that we are trying to do our best to try to avoid foodborne illnesses within our family and our loved ones as well. And many of these outbreaks have been linked to foods commonly served during, like I mentioned, the holidays, such as turkey and roast beef. So some of the symptoms to keep an eye out for is diarrhea and stomach cramping within 6 to 24 hours after eating contaminated food. And it usually begins and lasts for less than 24 hours. Diarrhea can cause dehydration, so it is important to drink plenty of fluids. And usually this infection usually does not cause fever or vomiting, and it cannot be passed from one person to another. Turkey and the juices can be contaminated with germs that can make you and your family sick. So raw turkey can have salmonella, Clostridium perfringens, Campylobacter, and other germs. So in regards to salmonella, most people with salmonella infection will have diarrhea, fever, and stomach cramps. The symptoms usually will begin within 6 hours to 6 days after infection and will last for 4 to 7 days. Some people do not develop symptoms for several weeks after the infection, and others experience symptoms for several weeks. So, in summary, make sure that we can keep in mind 4 steps to food safety during our holiday season. So, it includes clean, separate, cook, and chill. Hopefully, this image can help break it down into simpler steps that can be a quick reminder as to what are the 4 steps to food safety as well. And in summary, we just want to make sure that we are doing proper food handling as it is an essential to prevent foodborne illness, washing hands and cooking surfaces, washing your hands and I cut something and cooking everything to the proper temperatures and keeping your surfaces clean is very important. And separating raw meat from foods that won't be cooked, cooling and storing food items properly if they're not going to be eaten right away. With that in mind, you can keep your Thanksgiving safe and delicious with all your family members and have a safe holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you.
Edna, thank you so much for walking us through this. Nobody wants to serve up a side of something bad for their Thanksgiving. So, is there one common thing that is the most common mistake that people make when they are preparing a meal like this? It includes, this big, the big raw meat, and you've got all these other things that go with it. What's the most common error that people make?
So for that, I will mention hand washing is one thing that people tend to forget once they do it at the beginning, but then throughout it kind of gets left on the back burner because they're so occupied with doing everything else, so they forget to go back and do their hand washing practices. That'll be one. The next thing is the cross-contamination, just because of probably the rush as well of preparing everything. So you jump from that task and then you're preparing the raw turkey, and then suddenly you're preparing a salad. So that jumping of task from raw food to cooked food is one of the most common practices that will go ahead and result in foodborne illness. So just keeping in mind, pausing, remembering when was the last time you washed your hands, and then pausing if you just touched raw foods and you're going to go ahead and do ready to eat foods, that you pause, go back, wash your hands, and then go ahead and resume the next task.
The idea of color-coded cutting boards I thought was pretty good because that's something you could set out in advance. If you're doing a big meal like this, it can be pretty, I can see it can be pretty overwhelming. I like to give that job to the experts and to provide the little things, but I can see that if you've got all that going on, the color-coded cutting boards would really help what food should go on, which one. And even if you wanted to label it, anything that helps you get it done correctly is the right thing, right?
Correct. Yes, that is correct. And it's something that you mentioned that you can go ahead and pre-plan as well to have it available the day of your holidays. And it'll be a practice that you will be using for the rest of your holiday seasons as well. So definitely incorporating that color coordinated cutting boards will be helpful for families.
Thank you so much, Edna. Really great information. And, we want everybody, it should be good all the way around and delicious. Thank you so much.
Correct. Thank you.
We're going to keep on the topic of health. The Monterey County Business Council and Montage Health are offering a special health fair for local businesses. Our friend Paul Farmer from the Monterey County Business Council, excuse me, is here to talk about this interesting fair and what will be available. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Maya. Great. Thank you for inviting me today, and hello to everybody. Good afternoon. As Maya mentioned, the Monterey County Business Council is partnering with our friends at Montage Health to offer this free virtual health fair. It's on Tuesday, November 26th from 1 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. I'll talk to you about what the agenda is and how you can register to get the links to the program. So the one of the nice things about this program is it's broken down into half-hour segments. So if there's just a particular segment that interests you, then you can just join for that one segment. or 2 segments. You don't have to participate in the entire thing. But what we've got at 1 p.m., from 1 p.m. until 1:30, the topic is breast cancer awareness. From 1:30 to 2 p.m., we'll have a registered dietitian online to talk about dietary health. From 2 until 2:30, we have behavioral and mental health with Dr. Benjamin Corsmo. From 2:30 to 3 p.m., it's AED, which is an automated external defibrillator. You've probably seen those at gyms and shopping malls and things like that. So we'll talk about the what, who, why, when, and how. How are you able to use these life-saving devices? We'll talk all about that. So that's from 2:30 to 3. From 3 until 3:30, we talk about managing stress in the workplace. So I want to mention that my friend Nick Kite at the Montage Health team he and his team have put together a variety of experts. Some of them are doctors, some of them are clinical dietitians, but to talk about all of these different health matters. If you would like to register for it, again, there's no cost to you. You can probably the easiest way to register would be to go to MCBC's website, which is at mcbc.biz, B-I-Z. From our homepage, you'll see there's a graphic for the virtual health fair. You click on that, just enter a little bit of information, and then they will send you the links to the program. Again, it's going to be Tuesday, November 26th from 1 to 3:30 p.m. Totally free of charge, thanks to our friends at Montage Health. And that's what we have to share with you today, Maya.
Paul, thanks so much for this. It's so interesting that the information is good for anyone, but you're targeting businesses with this information. People may forget businesses have employees, they have workplaces that need to be managed. What can an employee, say you've got a small business, in our county, how would this assist you in kind of your looking at your business in terms of health and your employees' health?
Yeah, well, Maya, what Montage does oftentimes is they will partner with a larger employer to put together these resources. And in this case, they had a larger employer who had to pull out at the last moment, and they had already put together all the resources. So our friends at Montage, Nick Kite, contacted me and said, can you help us open this up to the community? We've already done the work. We've already got everything paid for. You just have to help get the word out. So whether you're a small business or an independent person and would like to know more about these different topics, again, it's free and it's online. There's not an easier way to do it. So I hope that answers your question,
Yes,
Maya.
yes, it's perfect because when you think of health, you think of your personal health, but employers have employees and they want to think of their employees' health too, or their environment, like the
Right.
AED. How would you get one of those in your workplace in case something were to happen? And that would be there before maybe the paramedics could get there. So
Right.
fantastic information. We hope everyone takes advantage of it. Thanks very much for being here and sharing it with us. We
Of
appreciate it.
course. Thank you, Maya.
On to another topic. Monterey County is developing, or the County of Monterey is developing its community climate action and adaptation plan. And this is a plan that will address the growing impacts of climate change in our region. There is an upcoming workshop that will give everyone a chance to share their concerns and their ideas. The workshop is December 4th. And it will be virtual, so easy to attend. Our Sustainability Program Manager, Cora Panturad, joins us here now to explain how we can help the counties shape its future, its climate future. Hi, Cora.
Hi, Maya, and hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can.
Great. I'm going to share a couple of slides with you all today. Okay, it looks like we are up and running. So thank you for the introduction, Maya. So just a quick overview of what we'll talk about today is an overview of what the Community Climate Action and Adaptation Plan is. We'll take a look at a snapshot of our greenhouse gas inventory. We'll go over the schedule for the CAPs so far, and then we'll discuss the draft workshop agenda that will be coming up on December 4th. So as a brief overview, the climate action plan is going to be a roadmap for reducing greenhouse gas emissions as well as adapting to the effects of climate change. So this will identify existing and projected greenhouse gas emissions, set those reduction targets for us, and help establish policies and actions to meet those reduction targets. And then we'll also integrate climate adaptation and resiliency strategies into the plan. We will be continuing to engage with the community and provide an implementation program for the climate action plan as well as the sustainability program for the next 5 years. So again, just a quick term. So this plan will both seek to mitigate the effects of the causes of climate change by reducing those greenhouse gas emissions, as well as adapt to the effects of climate change that we know are already happening with rising temperatures and extreme precipitation. So this is the schedule so far for the Community Climate Action and Adaptation Plan. We are right in the middle of the 4 going into 5. So we're working on getting that draft climate action plan out, and then we're hoping to have a final cap ready for the community to view in the spring of next year, where we go for final adoption. And this is our updated greenhouse gas inventory, where we have our quantified sectors of building energy, on-road transportation, roads, vehicles and equipment, solid waste, wastewater, and also agricultural and conservation. And as you can see, there are some really big opportunities for us to work on in the on-road transportation sector, as well as buildings. And we have been engaging with agricultural stakeholders as well. And this is the updated greenhouse gas inventory that is going into our climate action plan. So for this draft agenda, as Maya was saying, we really want public participation so that people can have input on what is going to be going into that plan and how these projects can shape our community over the coming 5 years of this plan and beyond. So for our draft workshop agenda, we'll go over an overview of the project for everyone to catch people back up to speed. We'll discuss the climate challenge from the perspective of the county, as well as the 3 big opportunities that we see for reductions now, which include building decarbonization, vehicle trip reduction, and electric vehicle adoption. We'll have breakout group discussions for these barriers and benefits of the proposed solutions, as well as the community benefits that the proposed solutions will bring. There's also going to be a participatory climate budgeting tool that we'll be unveiling for the December 4th workshop. And this will enable community members to see the proposed strategies that are going into the climate action plan. And community members will be able to use sliders to say if they had their say for the climate budget, then these are the measures that they would propose. So that will enable us to see what the community is proposing for how they would meet our climate action goals. And we can factor that into the plan and really address community desires as parts of our outreach and feedback as part of our drafting process. Then we'll have some additional engagement opportunities going into the new year, and we'll discuss that with the community as well, and make sure that people know how to respond to the draft climate action plan when that comes out, and to make sure that their comments are included in that final version of the document. So here's my contact information on the left, as well as our project websites. You can also scan the QR code on the right. This is our flyer for the event. It has our time and dates. And again, it is all virtual and there will be Spanish interpretation available. So thank you all for having me, and I hope that we get as many people out here as we can.
Thank you so much, Cora, for explaining what is going to be on the menu for this workshop. Also, I think it's really important for people to know, I'm glad you gave an update on where we are in this, because this isn't something that has happened overnight. We haven't gotten to this workshop just, overnight. This has been long in the making, but yet there is still time for people to comment on what concerns them. I think we see things around us changing all the time, and we may feel differently now about climate change or its impacts than we did maybe a year ago. So there is still a chance for people to come here and talk about what they're worried about.
Yes, absolutely. And we're hoping to get that feedback from the community to address those concerns directly and also make sure that people know that we are on our way to reaching our 2030 goals, but this is going to be a continuously evolving process, and we need to make sure the community is involved with that for 2030 and beyond.
And, I stopped your share screen, but I'm wondering if you could pull up that pie chart again that talked about I don't think you used the term inventory, but it showed just all the impacts from the various industries in our area. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that pie chart.
Sure, let me pull that up again for you. Okay. So I think we are live and you're seeing the slideshow. So our main driver that we see, so on-road transportation is 39% of our emissions, and this is our biggest opportunity for both what the county can control for our jurisdiction, as well as how we can shape our community to reduce these greenhouse gas emissions by reducing the amount of vehicle trips, opting for public transportation, and improving those systems to best meet the needs of our community, as well as focusing on active transportation and all the health and economic benefits that that brings for a family, being able to reduce the amount of car dependency that we have in our lives. And if you look at the building sector as well, you'll see that if you add up the non-residential building energy and the residential building energy, that is around 21% of our emissions. And that primarily comes from methane gas and the use of gas for heating, both for water and space heating. And there are opportunities to reduce those emissions and opt for electric appliances. There are a lot of really positive health benefits of switching to electric cooking. Close to 20% of diagnoses for childhood asthma in the state of California are from gas appliances in the home. So that's something that a lot of our residents have expressed that this is something they weren't aware of, and if they could, they would like to switch for electric appliances in their home. We are discussing agriculture with agricultural stakeholders, and there is opportunity to reduce these emissions by things like carbon farming and carbon sequestration. There's only so much you can do with agriculture because it is the lifeblood of our area, and we need to make food to feed the people. So we're working with our stakeholders to find a balanced approach to reducing our agricultural emissions and make sure that we can prioritize incentives and carbon sequestration going forward.
Thank you for pointing that out. That you hit it right on the head. So agriculture touches all of our lives in some way or another. But the fact that you're working with industry leaders there to talk about what could be done, I think just shows that everybody wants the climate to be safe. Everybody wants our environment to be healthy, especially if you're going to grow food in it. So it's great to hear that there's work at that end too, to consider how we can do better. So again, December 4th is the community workshop. And yeah, thank you so people can use the QR code, or they can, I think you had a link there. There's the link, and we hope everyone takes advantage of, even if you don't have a question, come and learn.
Yep, absolutely. And the QR code over there will also take you directly to our project website. We have all our materials from the many outreach and engagements and public sessions we've had for this project. So if you want to catch up and do your homework, everything is online there too.
Thank you so much, Cora, for walking us through this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week. We'll see you then.